Good evening once again. We're grateful to be back here with another presentation of our broadcast in the Issues Room here on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, and the Issues Room page. Today is our 144th edition. I'm Volcano Shelton coming away from the city of Brotherly Love, Pennsylvania, USA. And the city of Brotherly Love is called Philadelphia. It's good to be back here on this presentation. We'd like to encourage you to join us. Our broadcast is at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 11 p.m. in Monrovia, Liberia, and those countries within the Greenwich time zone. We say thank you for being faithful to us and joining us each night when we come here to make these presentations. The Issues Room is the alternative social media platform that emanated out of Liberia to discuss the things that matter to our country, the continent of Africa, and the diaspora of Black people. I'd like to welcome my colleagues in the house this evening. And let's the man Moses Sandy,
Thank you.
followed by Alphonso. Thank you.
Thanks,
Welcome,
Volcano.
gentlemen. This evening
Thank you.
conversation was around the hypothetical. We have our studio guest, Dr. Samuel Deputy, who is backstage waiting to join us after we've covered our trending news. In the meantime, we said spread the word, invite others to join us here tonight. We're going to have great conversation. As you and I know, the pendulum is swinging back and forth in Liberia. Anything can happen. Man can talk all, right?
Yeah, that's yeah. We have to leave some in the closet. Man can't talk all. Yeah, but like always, it's always pleasing to be here. Today we have come to educate, entertain, and then help to change some perspectives about happenings in our country. Please help us, like Volcano said earlier. Share the link, invite more people. Thank you.
Alfonso?
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, gentlemen. It's great again to be with you all. As I've always said, this is a great public service. And we're here and committed to doing all we can to educate, inform, and entertain our people. Most importantly, to kind of give them a perspective, but also give them a platform to participate in the public discourse.
Thank you. Thank you. Virgin Monu, welcome. Good evening. It's good to see you, my brother. Mapu Hall, continue to invite others. Dr. Deputy, I know you can hear from backstage. Please invite the folks on your platform in your Facebook page. Spread the word to all of your connections so that they spread the word, because the conversation here tonight is going to be exciting. Gentlemen, trending news. Let's start with the rescue mother. The rescue mother celebrated her birthday yesterday, and apparently it was a national holiday. The president left the Liberian people job and went to celebrate with his chief of protocol. In fact, all of the prom and pageantry took place at his condominiums out there at the Baptist Seminary. A crowd puller. It comes to when people look at the optics around these things, it's like everything about this president, this government, and its officials must be about fanfare. So let's go to the clip quick, and we'll come back. Oh God, gentlemen, I just thought to stop there because just to give you a picture of what is happening. What do you make out of this?
Insanity at the highest level.
President is insanity.
Insanity at the highest level.
Insanity that has them. I
And
will.
every time Mr. Weir and his people do this thing, that just further embolden Liberians to making a one-term president. Volcano, the Liberia that you and I grew up in, Alphonso, did you ever see one of the least president in government, the chief of protocol, being celebrated at that level? The president leads critical issues of the country to go and celebrate birthday with chief of protocol, the quote unquote rescue mother. Who is she rescuing? Did the president not hear the minister of transport yesterday telling employees of the Ministry of Transport that he would terminate them with immediacy if anyone dare him to protest? Is the president not aware that uh, foreign service employees at the Liberian embassy in Washington, D.C. have not been paid for 4 months? Is he not aware that some of them are at the risk of being evicted from their apartments? And you leave all of these critical issues, you go to celebrate with quote unquote rescue woman?
Rescue home.
Eh? Or the rescue mother? Quote unquote rescue mother?
Rescue home.
Eh? Yeah. That is insanity at the highest level.
What I would
Let me stop
say
there.
is I will borrow a word that was, hung around for a little while, and it seems to be disappearing. I believe it came from former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Opulence. Opulence. Basically, I saw first of all from that video thousands, hundreds of people, and the fact that somebody has the resources to hold a birthday party, to basically, that large tells me that it's this system is all about opulence, and that's exactly what it is. This administration has been premised, has been erected on these kinds of celebrations, fanfare, and very little substance. Unfortunately, in Liberia, we have a culture that follows these kinds of things, that follows these kinds of celebrations. But in our last conversation, we talk about celebrity, we talk about popularity, right? That's exactly what it is. This third thing I want to say here is that they're not stupid. The smart people. they're doing this as a concealed campaign effort. It's a concealed campaign effort. It's somebody's birthday, but you bring hundreds of people from the community, you give them food, you feed them, you make your speeches to get to know you and to support you in the election process. That's exactly what it is, and that's my perception of that crazy, as Moses said, party.
And from my end, I see this to mean that the society is so idle. There ain't
Yeah.
nothing going on.
Hmm.
If people were really invested in their own time and their future, they will find something to do. Where in Liberia, when I grew up, when you, Moses, and the rest of us here grew up, that an official of government will hold party and it becomes elaborate to shut the country down on a Monday.
On a
On
Monday.
a Monday, that the president would leave his executive functions to come to celebrate with one of his, the people say, his concubines.
Quote unquote.
And his wife is just
Of course,
subduing this whole thing.
yeah.
That's the way I see it. Because she has to just walk alongside her husband and say, for better or for worse, these are the worst moments. I got to be here. And it's sad, Moses,
It
because
is.
so many times, I mean, things rather could be done with the time. All of these people passing around, all these people, look at them by the numbers. And they just show that, oh, the man too popular, the man will win the elections, like you said. And that's true. It presents that image that he still has the popularity. He's the crowd puller. And the rescue mother is basking in the fanfare. But it's unfortunate. So you talked about the transport minister warning people, but the story I heard behind the scene is that when Samuel Tour went over there and made lies and made empty promises and lied to the people,
Mhm.
Sam Wooley, he said, come follow up with me to the finance ministry. We'll talk about it. We'll see. We can address it. The man went there. He said, my man, I got nothing to give you. Go back, tell the people, anybody, I tell anybody to go say they want,
They won't protest.
tell them say you will fire them. They will get scared.
Can you
That was
imagine
the
that?
mandate given on the man. That's what I got. That was the mandate. So the
Hmm.
man went back and told them, say, if anybody to do, because Samuel Tour says that for salary increment, you cannot protest. But if we have had a harmonization and you were not at that level, then you have the right to be at that level. And the president said nobody should make less than $150. I mean,
Yeah,
150
50 US dollars. Yeah.
US dollars. So it means that everyone who's under that threshold amount must be raising up there. But if you're asking for increment in your salary, then don't protest. Protest is not the way to go. So
But
happen.
and Volcano, quickly, not to cut you off, the protests that emanated from the ministry, the employees were saying that they raised, and it just make a lot of sense, gentlemen. If you work for an entity, you're raising money, you're contributing to the national budget. You should not be underpaid. You should not
Mhm.
be underpaid. Because if you are underpaid, then you become vulnerable. Isn't that true?
To corruption, to
Of
bribes,
course.
Hmm.
to quick settlements and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Whatever, Volcano.
anything else?
Yeah.
Anything else?
Well, real
Mhm.
on the go ahead. I just want to comment real quickly on the workers stuff. So if it's true, here's the issue. Yeah, here's the workers' issues. The workers are saying that the so-called harmonization plan they left them behind. They were not harmonized with people on the same level. So you have inspectors at the Ministry of Transportation making less than inspectors, for example, say at the Ministry of Labor or the Ministry of Finance, etc. So the so-called harmonization plan wasn't fair in the first place. That is the problem. But the bigger picture is that the government through the how is it called, the
Ministry of Finance.
No, 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 not the Ministry of Finance. This agency of
or
government,
civil service agency?
civil service, is supposed to set
The
grades
high should be.
across the government. So a grade A or a grade 8 or a grade 10 person, no matter where they're working, once they have the same qualification in the same position, are supposed to make the same amount of money. So that is the problem. What again? That tells us the civil service did not set that. The Ministry of Finance, unfortunately, that has no authority and expertise to do that, probably did, and that's why we have the inconsistencies.
All right. So, gentlemen, we gone far. It's 17 minutes after the hour. Remember, we have trending. Rather, what type of country is this and all of that. So, instead of keeping our guests long, we'd like to start this conversation tonight on this 144th edition. Tonight conversation, we're going to be looking at the hypotheticals of what could happen. You and I know that lately we've been seeing parties giving their support to the incumbent, Mr. Weah, the PLP, current standard bearer, Tapo Doe, uh, mortgage the party, as some of the PLP people are saying in America.
Yeah.
We're also seeing some mergers, and so they decided to go as the Grand Coalition for Democratic Change, the GCDC. Then we hear talks going on behind the scene. People are saying Barker and Cummings are likely to be talking. We hear Henry Costa is expected to be on the ballot. He said that he claims it. You know, so many things happening. So all of these hypotheticals, what does it do for the outcome of our elections? Let's start with bringing in our guest tonight. Before I bring him in, he is Dr. Samuel Deputy. He is the founder and president of Kadu Group, a newly registered policy and strategic management consultant firm in Liberia, with Kadu Farm and Guest House as its subsidiary located near Kakata in Todi District, Montserrat County. He's investing in palm on a 10 acres of land with guest house and Airbnb in Todi district area, a Liberian family man and a resident of Minnesota for 25 years. He could talk
Wow.
more about himself. So let's welcome our doc here tonight, Dr. Deputy. Uh, Apart from what I just said, just talk about your professional background and, your specialization and so forth before we begin
Well,
this.
you, well, you said it all. You said it all.
I know you're
My
a humble man.
background, and
You don't want to talk.
yeah, yeah, you said it all. My specialty is in policy, like the policy part of life, and so back in the days when I had to go to law school and didn't have the opportunity, and then when I came to the states, little older, so you know what, maybe if I studied the why, when, and how of life, I would be on the right course. And 25 years later, here I am. So I just love to talk about a hypothetical, what could happen. Well, you said it all.
So, from your perspective, starting this conversation tonight, we've seen a lot of things happening since we've crossed the national housing and census, the fiasco. We come to the voters registration process. It's not even sealing well. And no one expected these things. As far as we know, a mandate was given to this government to do the census in 2018. The lag dragged until they came into 2022 and a part of 2023. A lot of corruption marred the whole latest thing. Then we come to this biometrics and a lot of issues still happening with it. These are some of the variables that could influence the hypotheticals. Let's start from there. From your perspective, following what is trending in the country, how do you see these things and the impact on what could happen as a result of our national elections October 10th?
You guys were talking about the transport ministry, and I want to say thank you for inviting me. And talking about uh, uh, the chief of staff birthday and the rest of
Yeah.
the people.
Hmm.
Yeah, that are happening in the country. And I want to just take a step back. I want us to take a step back and look at the electorates, those that are making decision in our country, and what they want, and what what they look forward to. We still have people in our country that still run after popularity. It's not insane, it's not strange, it's not new. But what's going to happen here is that people are going to see them, and politics is an art, A-R-T, you know. So if you can perform it, if you can play it around it, you stand a better chance. So what's going to happen here hypothetically is that who are they seeing? They're seeing these people. They're seeing people that they see every day. And you look at the opposition, they're still fighting to make decisions. They are still coming around. You go to the party headquarters, it's dead. You can hardly see anybody standing there. You can't even see anything they're doing. They're just into rooms. And so if they got come around, these people, if you are in Liberia, it's easier when you are outside of the country. But if you are in the country, you find out something. And that thing been around for some time now. It been around for decades. If you can carry the caterpillar in the town, you stand a better chance to winning that spot or to winning their hearts. Because there's one thing that people ask about. Who is he and what did he bring for us? And when you see the people they say, who is he? Who's that man? They say, oh yeah, that Mr. Deputy's son, or that Mr. Brown's son. Oh, okay, what he brought. So you find out people who are cement seller winning elections. You find out people who are marketeers winning election in there because there is still something that is a popularity and it's a contest. And it's that popularity contest that is still driving half of the people. And the president and his team understand that. Because those that are making the decisions and those that they're looking at them and they know what they like. And so they're feeding into them.
Gentlemen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dr. Deputy, I would just, before we move further, I just want for you as a guest on the show tonight, the four of us here, we know exactly when we speak of hypotheticals. But we want you as our guest tonight to operationalize for us when we speak about hypotheticals for the average Liberian. What are we talking about?
What we're talking about hypothetically for the average guy is that uh, hypothetically for the average guy, it means you could be thinking on something else when it comes to the politics of our time, right? Let's say the
Hmm.
country. Let's look
Hmm.
at the politics. You could be thinking that, oh, like people will say, Joe, this is his last time. Order this guy, he's shooting himself in the foot, in the legs, and look at the pageantry, look at the money the ways in there. He leaving his executive or work and coming down to a birthday party. And the hypothetical part about that is you could be thinking that way that he's doing the wrong thing and thinking that the opposition who you think will have done something different or get the magic wand and will turn things around. They could be sitting down and thinking that this guy going to lose the election and this guy going to win. So the hypothetical here is you could be thinking on A and then B, you could be thinking that the election going to turn the other way around and
Yeah.
you could be wrong. You could be wrong because you're not going to this these people they got the microphone, they got the financial war chest, they study the trajectory of the politics, they know the voters in there, they know how less educated some are, they know how they still run after you came my mind, you came my power, vote for you, you know book, I'm for you see our street dirty and you say you are a cleaner. All of these things, you could be fighting on changing those things or thinking that this guy is he's done. And hypothetically, he could turn it around because the people will go with who they see and they will follow them. Take for example, in our native habit, the guy will say, "Man, where am I carrying a girl?" And that's the girl that he's dating. And that's the girl that he's dating. So the hypothetical piece there is that people going to be thinking that the president have lost it, his men have lost it, and it's the opposition going to win it. But guess what? They could lose it because what they are doing, what are they doing? Now, for 6 years, people have seen what this president and what his men have done. But have they changed anything? You go to the party headquarters, it's still jam-packed. You may downplay those people. You may think that they are not anything. The decision makers are different than what they are. But hypothetically, you could be fighting this and lose it. And this is what's going to happen.
Yeah, so I know in summary what you're telling is when the unexpected happens, right?
Correct.
Uh,
Yep, when the unexpected happen. Yep.
yeah. So like you were talking about the question that people ask, where's that man? What did he bring for us?
Yeah.
That's why today in the legislature you find a lot of people that not supposed to be there because it's all about what you know did he bring for us. So anyone who has that capability of bringing something for us, whether the person has a competence, whether the person is capable of telling our story or not, that's the person we go with, right?
Yes, exactly so. And this is what happening. And this form this go way back. You find out that people who just carry a low caterpillar in the town, and the next thing you look, they in Morovia as a representative. We have representative. I come from a county Basa. We have the Omar Workley Titi, and, and whether that there was no educational background, you didn't know what kind of legislative practicum she has, and what she would deliver, the poke that she would bring to the people. But guess what? She was in the house. So it's just that popularity contest, and many of us that are in the diaspora, we downplay those things because we're seeing politics at a different level. We're seeing the argument elevated at a different level. You would look at these things like you were saying insanity. But the people that are on the ground that are running to these things, they know something else. They understand something else. That's why you hear the word that politics is local. And the localizing part of the politics is the bread. When the crumbs fall from the table, we can pick it up and we know you will put the actual bread there for us. Who gonna change that? That's the people we are not finding. And all we're doing is sitting in offices and the surrogates and those are speaking for them. They are on their high horses and they do not understand the poorer politics. There is a politics in Liberia called poorer politics, where the clan chief, the paramount chief, still making decision for the town. So this is how we going, and that's how we go. If it is behind the zoo or behind uh, 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 the temple, that's how it is. So those popularity still playing, and people are not grabbing towards it. They're not gravitating towards it and say, "How do we run this?" You and
So
I watched the last time. You and I watched the last time Magay went to Kakata, where I am, and crowd was jubilating. Sensual is in Morovia, but not on us here. There was something that he had that they wanted,
mhm.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a
and
question. What while you
yeah,
continue, let me just add a question, and then maybe you can continue. I think this is by the way. a very fantastic dialogue, very fantastic conversation. So, what you've just said, in my view, is the prescription, right? This is the problem. So, we've prescribed what the problem is. If I may add, before you continue, what do you think is the cure? Is the solution? Should the opposition political parties and people who want to run also go and do the same things, feed the people, hold elaborate parties, bring something like what the man brought for us, bring something for the people too, or do something else? What's the cure?
From a policy perspective, for me, if I'm in the diaspora, like I'm in Minnesota, I'll put on my Minnesota hat. But when I'm back in Kakata or when I'm back in Todi or back in the village, the people, first of all, they don't even know you.
That's right.
And we had a saying in Liberia, say when you enter the bad time, you hang like bad.
That's right.
You cannot leave Morovia and go to Kakata. Just use an example, or go to Volcano and talk like the guy from Morovia. You got to talk like the guy from Bassa. So that means to appeal to the young people, if, for example, a Baka went to Bassa and let's say 200, hypothetically, 200 or to let's say 2,000 young people show up, you think he's going to talk about LPNC? No. You talk about LPNC in the system, you're not going to get that. You got to talk something within that. So the prescription here is come down like the Seditians are doing, or come down like other people are doing. If it calls for you to cook the rice and call the party for people to come and you talk to them in their native languages, dialects and things, do it. But there's a poorer politics that they're not understanding, that they're not getting. And it is not a Washington, D.C. politics or London politics or a Yale or Harvard School of Political Science, and let's bring it down. It's different. Just how you get to the people down there and the old man will tell you, say, I have not listened to radio from Morovia, then Yambia, what you bring for me? It's not going to work. It worked, but it only going to work with few people. That's when the guy that they know they carry. That's why you saw in a lot of you saw a lot of the time when they go to vote, they bring pictures. Man, that they mayor. Action
Mhm.
party, they bring a chicken. So you know Jackson have to go. So you put a chicken sign. That's why they do those things so people can have to identify things. They put a chair, they put this one in there, so you understand what's happening. But I think until we grasp those concepts and go with it, we are not to the point to be like any Western country. We are not. This is like our second or third real presidential election. So people are not there yet,
So
and
let,
it takes time to bring civics to bring to bear and teach people what it look like, how to look for candidate and what to vote for. But right now you go there and talk all the subsidy issue, policy issue, the prescription. This is where I carrying you. It's not going to sell. It sell only to you and I in the diaspora. And how many of us can go home to go vote? Those that are gone there to register, you see them back in town. They're not going to go in August to vote.
so one of the things as you were speaking that came to mind is, quite frankly, you look at the and Alfonso, the population now, the caliber of people who are voting in our national elections are predominantly the youth,
Mhm.
and thousands, if not a million plus, can barely read and write.
Correct.
So they cannot discern.
Mhm.
So even all the education you put forth is almost like in the Liberian parlance, wasting water on dog back. How do we cross this? Because it's one of the hypotheticals. It's one of the things that what if we were able to civilize our voters, civilize not in the context of the word civilize, but meaning educate, inspire, and bring to them what
Mhm.
is happening in modernity, and say, listen, this is your future now, and this is your present now, but this is your future tomorrow, depending on how you vote.
Mhm.
Creating that kind of education. You're talking 1 point something million of youth who can barely really read and write. I
Mhm.
just showed you some stuff here in Liberia. The man say he's freshman. He ain't able to spell freshman. He said he at the University of Liberia. The guy just spell freshman. He said, my man, what you embarrassed people?
Don't embarrass me.
Yeah. So that tells you that the problem is humongous. It's more than what we see. But these young people, as we've spoken over time, that if you put a motorcycle now and you say here's scholarship, go to school until you get to college and graduate, they will take the motorcycle because survival is the mode. If I take the scholarship, who's gonna feed me? How do I get transported to school? How do I get the other incentives to make me a student and make me studious? I would rather now start making money by riding my bike to become independent and able. So all of these things are the disconnect, and that's what they will take to the poll. They will look at what is now, what is in it for me now. Is it a T-shirt? Is it the $20? Is it a half bag of rice?
Mhm. Mhm.
So how do we fix this?
Um, yeah, that's a profound question, and that's a very serious problem, by the way, that we face in the country. And I think Dr. Deputy spoke to it very eloquently. I, however, believe that there's a way out, there's a cure, and it has to be multifaceted. So I'm doing a piece that I'll publish very soon, and some of the things I'm looking at are one, the role of civil society organizations. For example,
It's frozen. But you want to just take the lead, Doc? How do we go through this uh, issue? Because this is one of the issues that could lead the hypotheticals in any direction.
mhm.
Yeah. If you look at, there's three things.
Alfonso?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
I
Okay. Go
Yeah.
ahead, Alfonso. Yeah.
Okay,
Go
I
ahead,
thought
please.
Dr. Deputy was going, but
So
yeah.
you
So
are.
some of the things I've been looking at, for example, is that popularity, what the person has for main, etc., which is what Brother Deputy spoke to. Those things can be crossed out again by civic education, but more so very quickly by civic engagement by civil society organizations. For example, the nurse who comes from a vote-rich county of Nimba, and the nurse who come from a very little vote county of maybe Grand Cru. Maybe Grand Cru is not a good example right now. Have something
Go with
after the
River G. Go with River G.
River G, have something in common, right? And so we have to emphasize, our politics has to begin to emphasize issues. That's the point I'm trying to make. That person might, the nurse, the current situation encourages the nurse from Nimba to vote for the person from Nimba. But what are the issues that are confronting that of interest to the nurse from Nimba? Higher pay, better working conditions, etc. Well, the nurse from River G experiences and has those same interests and concerns. How do we bring the nurse from Nimba and the nurse from River G together to see that they have a common interest, and that Dr. Deputy, for example, as a candidate, is the one who has a track record and has policies that will address those interests once, and that's how politics should be, right? Issues driven. And then of course we go to job creation. We talk about jobs, we talk about feeding people, which the I the how is it called, the labor unions, for example, have an interest in job creation, right? So can they come together and emphasize at the Firestone workers, for example, and the metal steel workers more interested in jobs or in electing a Pele person? So the issue of jobs again cuts across ethnic ethnicity, it cuts across who's giving me a bag of rice, and it cuts across a number of other small parochial issues. So again, civil society organizations People like Dr. Deputy, people like us have to continue, to send this message out to the people and to create the necessary structures that will create that change. In as much as that is our culture, as Dr. Deputy eloquently prescribed, but Volcano, as your question suggested, cannot be the culture that gets perpetuated. We have to do something to change it, or else leadership of the country will be, to the people who can steal enough money and have parties and bring the people something. And we can't, if we're going that route, then we shouldn't be arguing about bad roads. We shouldn't be arguing about lack of electricity. We shouldn't be arguing about poor education or poor healthcare, because we're not electing people because they promise or they have the capacity to deliver those things. We're electing them because they gave us beggar rice, and whatever. And two other issues very quickly. That is the reason why in the national legislature, for example, because our people demand rice at and other things from their politicians. That's why in the legislature you have, when they go to pass the national budget, what do? They give themselves higher salaries, and their argument is that so that they can go back to their constituents and pay children tuition and buy zinc for people, etc. The other thing that they do is that they actually put money in the budget and give themselves $30,000 to $40,000 every quarter as development money, or $50,000, $60,000 as agriculture money. Why isn't this money being channeled through the relevant, appropriate government institutions such as the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Public Works, so that they can go and do the feasibility studies and build these roads? The reason is simple. Our people expect their politicians to feed them. So the politicians take the money and go feed them and portray themselves as philanthropists. And that is something we should address.
Very good point. Very good point, Doc. Any addition? Oh, sorry, I muted you because there was
Yeah,
a
you meant, yeah.
yeah. Go ahead.
Just a contrary to that, what Alfonso is saying make a huge sense. If you're looking at it from a institutional lens, if you're looking at it from a real lens, fine. In the Western sense, fine. But if you're looking at it from what it is in Liberia, I stand to be corrected, but 2005 was one of the times that we really have went to the poor. Those that went to the poor, what did they see? Majority of the people were born in 1990, and they came out to vote. At 2011 were one of them, and 2017 we had 3 of those elections, and today you see where we are. We are not going to get there that fast.
So it means that we're not gaining any better education as a
We're
result,
not getting any better education. We're
as a
not
result of
gaining
how
anything.
we
Yeah,
vote, as a result of
yeah,
how we vote.
Mhm,
yeah. How we vote. So
mhm,
if people are still voting the way they are voting, you're not going to look at the nurses and say, what is the policy issues? No.
mhm,
What is the what you gonna do? No. It's what you brought for me and you who son. In Basa the same money you who son.
mhm, mhm,
That John Brown that man Araya and I Sonya you can't say you want it.
mhm,
That give it to him because that Mr. Jabro's son. So they're not looking that they're no policy prescription.
mhm,
It's about what you would do. Before I came to the show, I talked to somebody who said, look, despite the fact West Point was bad off, and this president came and doing a sport part there, build our road through Dole community and this and that. I don't care whatever you say, I'm gonna vote for him. He will
mhm,
not that person is not looking at anything like to say S, Y, A, B, C, and D. That's what I'm gonna do.
And
They're looking at the tangible, they're
you
looking at the physical. That's why you see the legislature that you alluded to, they're doing what they're doing because they're following they testing the temperature, and that's what they know, and that's the language. We all opposition, imposition. Everybody got to learn our language, and they're not getting it. You can come from Yale, it's not going to work because it's the square peg in a round hole situation.
But you know what's
They
interesting?
start making a decision 1992 now. Look at the education level. Look at what they're looking at. These are boys that when they get out, all they want is a military boost, a barrel, and then they chant. What else?
You know
They're
what's
not listening to anybody that run into an election. How many people going to watch a debate? One of the last debate I saw, then I look at the rating was between Delon and Thomas Falah. How many people saw it? People forgot. How many people got a data to put in a phone to watch these things? You go there, they're not even listening to them. We watch most of these things than the people on the ground. The guy just want a data to call one person for help or somebody for help. So you who just show up in the village and think, just imagine a little place that we're doing what we are doing. People thinking now that a little chi next year we gotta give you something here. I even want it. So these are the things that we're doing, and until people grab the concept and say, "Let's do this," when we take it over, then we can gradually change things. Fine. We're not there. How many schools in the country teaching civics? I don't know whether it's still there.
but the interesting thing, the guy you spoke with, and what I wanted to say quickly, it has nothing to do with what the president has done because it's the president's responsibility and it is entitlement. He's entitled to development in his community. And that money is not coming from Weah's pocket. And that is why
Correct.
Moses Sandy has frowned on Weah for taking donations from taxpayers' money and putting his name on it, right? Because that's the way he
Yeah.
sells himself. So people need to move away from thinking that when the president does something, it means that the president is doing it out of his pocket.
Mhm.
Everything Weah does in Liberia is by Liberian people money and donor money. It's not coming from his pocket. Anything that Nathaniel McGill is doing, if Nathaniel McGill 6 years ago had taken road and Sir Joseph 15 years ago was building a school out of his pocket, then we say yes. But look at where they come from, where they are now, and the things that they are doing. Can the
But
people
just to add a little bit to that though, ju- just to add a little bit to that, the people do not understand that. Only you and I know that is not coming from their pocket, but the people know that they're doing it. I have seen people in my district, in my county, that come here and get donation and go back and they donate it like they're giving it to the people, and the people clapping and chanting for them. That's what they understand. Until we can be part of that to change it, we can't just change it from the outside. And that's what the politicians are doing. And
so
it was not work.
so we got a long ride if you look at this. Even 2026, our elections might not even make any difference. Where the playing
No.
field will be level, where there will be no more Weah, there will be no more Joseph Waka. Maybe Ellen will be here or not be here. We don't know. It's not going to change anything. So, but let's come back and look at some of the hypothetical candidates and VP. Let's put them together. All right. People are saying now the new noise in town, Mr. Sandy, and the rest of
Yeah.
us here tonight. The Cummings Waka ticket is the only ticket that can unseat Mr. Weir. And people are also hypothetically speculating it could be one round. Also, people say, oh, no, 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 no. Costa and Waka ticket, because the Weir government, the man is scared of Costa. The boy young, he's vibrant, he got a crowd behind him. That's another hypothetical. So if we look at these two hypotheticals, let's discuss it. Which one is better? And is it true that if any of these two people coming or Costa were the John, Mr. Barker, who is sitting pretty as the front runner against Mr. Weir, we're gonna have a different outcome? Let's talk about it.
Well, look, let me just come in on that. Uh, And before I even elaborate on that further, I just want to make the point that Dr. Deputy made that, hey, this is what the people have seen over the year, and this is what they have known over the year. What you said just reminded me, we had the same discussion, I think a week or two ago. It's like someone who found, his or herself in a domestic violence relationship. When you find yourself in an abusive relationship where you are manipulated, you don't recognize that you are being abused. It is the people who are standing out and looking inward will say something is not right in our home. And that's what our politicians have and continue to do to our people in Liberia. You know, they go into the national coffer, they take the state resources and throw it at the people, give them chicken change because we have extreme poverty. All the people you see running behind these politicians, they are not doing it because they love them. They are doing it because they are in survival mode.
But Moses, let me add this quick. Could
Yeah.
some of our folks be suffering from the Stockholm syndrome?
Well,
Because, because,
you
because
elaborate on that. Yeah.
yeah, where your oppressor, you see
Yeah.
your oppressor as positive because now
Absolutely.
kind of start to get to like that person.
Hmm.
Like in abusive relationships, since you mentioned that,
Absolutely. That's what happened.
you start to love that person irrespective of how much they're hurting you. You
You
just start,
love that.
start. Maybe this is the best alternative, and I'm stuck with it. And so,
Yes. Yeah.
start,
This
yeah,
is what I have known. This is my life, and this is the only person that I have known over. And whatever the person does, you don't comprehend it as being negative. You see it as a norm, acceptable way of life.
because in
As
the
far as you're
70s,
concerned, it's okay.
the Stockholm syndrome came as a result of a bank robbery that took place in Sweden in the 70s, and the armed robbers or bank robbers took some people hostage, and in fact, some of the folks who were victims started to aid in the process, and
Mhm.
so they looked at this lady who kind of facilitated the situation as to she started to fall in love with her oppressor or
Yeah,
bank robbers, and so it became a psychological disorder where people tend to fall in love with people who oppress them.
we're abusing it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Hmm.
I
So,
think Dr.
Dr. Deputy,
Sorry,
that's
yeah.
our situation.
I
And
think
and
Dr. Deputy's oh sorry, Moses, I'll tell you what though. Sorry.
yeah, yeah. Quickly. So, like what I was saying now is coming back to this question of the pairing of the candidates, right?
Mhm.
On like Volcano said, you have multiple views out there. And I'm one of those, and this is not a campaign for anybody. I'm just speaking my mind. I'm one of those who strongly believe that with a unified opposition, Mr. Weah will be a one-term president.
And that's
Be-
one of the hypothetical.
Yes, because we saw that happen in 2020. You saw the unity that played out in the May 10 election. How much, you know, millions of dollars went into Montserrat County to ensure that Mr. Fowler wins. But with the unity amongst opposition politicians, Mr. DeLong prevailed. The opposition won majority of the legislative seats. The ruling party lost. That terrified Mr. Weir. That terrified the entire CDC. If we can see that coming back, George Weah will be a one-term president. Another hypothetical that I also believe in, if this guy go as a divided opposition, it is obvious that we're going to have a repeat of the tyranny that we have in our country today. The future of Liberia will remain bleak for the next 6 years if George Weah is re-elected. Mr. Deputy, you run business in Liberia, and that is not debatable. The statistics are all over the place. That's my hypothetical, gentlemen.
Yeah, I will look at the hypotheticals a little differently. So I'll look at the hypotheticals of what if Weah gets reelected, what if Barkai gets reelected, what if Cummings and what if Gonglo gets reelected, because these are the
You
front
mean
runners.
elected, not re-elected? For those of
Sorry,
that,
elected. Sorry,
Mhm.
Weah gets reelected, and then the other people get elected. Yes. If let's say Weah gets reelected, here's what I see and what I fear. We cannot run again as per the constitution except the constitution changes. So what happens? I see a mad rush for wealth, more so than is happening right now, because people around will say, "Oh man, we're not going back over there again. We better grab what we can grab right now," and that can even be a worst YY West. The other hypothetical I see with we are re-election is that there could be a fight for succession. Who succeeds in within the party, not just within the CDC, but within the coalition. All of these people that are coming together in the so-called grand coalition, what are their interests? And that could pose serious challenges, not just for their coalition and for their party, but also for the country. um let's go to Boracay. We all believe that Boracay has a chance. What if Boracay wins? Well, let's look at Boracay's age. In as much as we don't want to talk about it, it's still the elephant. It's still an elephant in the room. um Let's look at his age. Let's look at how his ability, given his age, to be as active and to govern. That then takes us to who his vice presidential candidate could be, might be. And would that person, let's say, God forbid, he gets elected and God forbid something happens in a year or two or three or four or even five, that person takes over. Would that person be ready to become president and to run the country any differently or in a way that we want them, that we are craving, that we're craving, bring about the change that we want? Then let's look at Cummings. Let's say Cummings get elected. I've heard Cummings speak. I've read some of his policies. He's talking about job creation. For me, jobs are key in that country. That's the way we will be able to pluck our youth and people from those corrupt politicians who are basically using stolen wealth to continue to suppress them. However, I also have some concerns about Cummings. I don't think he understands and know the political landscape. I also see people around him who I don't trust very well. So again, in Liberia, the issue is not about programs and policies. The issue is about implementation. Will you be able to implement those things accurately? We saw Ellen went with those grand ideas. She did well, but there were people who were stealing very massively in her administration as well. And then Gonglo talk about, as a human rights person, a lawyer, has been talking about prosecuting people for war crimes, has been talking about he will prosecute people for corruption, which are great ideas. But will they, at are the Liberian people, are the Liberian institutions ready for that? And would there be a blowback if he says start grabbing people? He's done it before. I mean, he's prosecuted Judy Bryant, former president, for corruption, under Ellen Sirleaf when he was Solicitor General. But what happened? That stopped, right? It didn't go, the prosecution of corruption didn't go far. So for me, these are the hypothetical situations of what happened if this person gets elected that I would like to throw out there, and maybe we can, talk about them a little bit.
let me unmute Dr. Deputy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
But
your take.
yeah, what if we think about all of these things and they don't happen? We saw when the opposition, the CPP, they elected some of the brilliant people into both houses. Look at their voting record in there. It's not showing opposition, it's showing imposition. So what if Cummings wake up and say, you know what, I ain't going that way. I'll go and take Charlene Bronskin, who is young, vibrant lawyer from Bassa, and she'll be my running mate. And Boakai said, okay, I want to come here again. I will do another thing. When people say he gonna do one turn, do you know what it look like to go to the hospital and you got the first class treatment and people opening door for you, the chief hail to the chief, and you look
Yeah.
doctor say you got a clean bill of health. So
Yeah.
those who say, yeah, you're gonna stay 4 years, they're not gonna start scratching their hair, and they,
Yeah.
yeah,
But we thought the women were going.
yeah. The women not
Yeah.
start getting going to some of the best expensive hospital the world can ever provide, not JFK anymore. Then they
Yeah.
say, ah, but we thought the women were gonna go. So
That's true.
again, it boils
That's not
down with going back to
hypothetical.
the
That's
root.
a hypothetical.
Mhm.
That's
No,
a
but listen,
hypothetical.
that's a hypothetical.
Yeah,
And let me
yeah,
pause you there quick. I want you Liberian people to listen, and that was a very good hypothetical. You say the woman, oh, but like
yeah.
you said, if the woman becomes president, it means that his health care is top notch. It
Of
becomes
course.
Yeah.
unlimited.
Of
So
course.
now that JFK here, every hospital, hospital again, one bit. So you're starting now. All right.
Uh,
So you'll be sitting there. That probably be
Yeah.
even healthier than you'll see him. Even though all day he meditating, the people say he's sleeping, but I say he can be meditating.
yeah, yeah.
Go ahead, Doc.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so and so these are the things that happen. And so for us to say here, or for us as Liberian to say this is what's gonna happen, and this guy gonna steal the show, this person gonna run with this thing, it's not until we get back to the way politics is done. And with this young democratic process with enjoying, we're gonna be wasting the baby with the bathwater, and it's going to be a long haul for all of us, because all that we're going to be doing is just preaching to the choir when the people their mind can get made up, different set groups, different localities and things like that. When you walk into areas where I will have people when I'm dead and people show up because we carry the caterpillar. And when you look at the people, it's not about what they hear on the radio, it's what they see, who come to them every day, who look at them. And look at hypothetically, people are busing people, different areas, registering them in different districts, and hoping that when they go there, they're going to vote for the other guy. Here in the US and other part of the world, when you get into the voting booth, you're looking at a few things. Maybe the 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 safety of your neighborhood, the policing in your neighborhood. You got a couple of things. The school, the education things. You're on the board. You're watching your kids. When I close the curtain to vote, I look at my three little children and say, what the tomorrow that I want to see for them. But when you go at 2017, we were in there and talking to people, and the woman said, what you bring for me? She got two little children there that in bare feet and their stomach popping up. And she's asking those of us that went there to talk for
Yeah.
them to get to vote,
Mhm.
where you brought for me? Some of
Yeah.
them got 6 or 7 t-shirts or 6, 7 political parties.
Yeah.
We can't get to downsize our political party with 5 million people if we had 3 or 4 good ones that all of us can gravitate. Then now you say we can recruit ideas. But you're not there yet. You got 21 that just signed the Farmington Accord. So how you going to get to that part to say now we can recruit ideas? So you go there and the old man is asking you and say, yeah, what you bring for me? So she want you give her something to go vote. How sure it is that when she get in that booth, she still got her, like you and I been seeing some guy and got ANC t-shirt on top and underneath they got CDC t-shirt.
But
We
look,
just
that
gotta
not
do,
to,
yeah,
look, that
yeah,
not
we
to
just,
cut, not to cut you on that. You know, we can.
yeah.
What Doctor Deputy said.
You think you
Le-
hear me?
Yeah.
I
You
just want
know.
to do the intermission quick, okay? Because
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. You know.
uh, we want to thank you all for joining us here tonight. This is the 144th edition of the Issues Room broadcast. We're coming your way here on Facebook with also viewership on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitter. I Volcano Shelton, joined by my colleagues Moses Sandy and Alphonso Yeno. And also our guest tonight is Dr. Samuel Deputy of the state of Minnesota. He's joined us here tonight to discuss some of the hypotheticals that could be giving us signal as to what the outcome of our national and presidential elections will look like. And we're discussing these things. Someone just said here, what type of country is this where the the people when they start naming their vice presidential running mates, other people getting heart attack, you know. So one of the segments we have here tonight that we bring in as humor to discuss the particulars of our countries, things that are just very common to the Liberian people, is the what type of country is this? And that segment will be coming up momentarily. We're going to open the line now. If you want to call, the number to call is 404-272-2808. Again, 404-272-2808. We hope that you can join us. Just add your weight. Some of you are thinking those hypotheticals that we're talking about. Some of you have some very, very different ones, and the way you perceive because of what is happening right now. We're saying the pendulum is swinging, and you can see it. It's swinging. It's going back and forth. But where does it stop? And with that point at which it stops, would that make the difference for our country in the next 6 years? So we're going to open the line. Go ahead, Moses. You want to make your point?
Yeah, look, I just wanted to buttress the point that Dr. Deputy made. That there are individuals in Liberia with multiple t-shirts from various political parties. Take, for example,
Yeah, that the
we are
people
from.
wardrobe. That the people
eh?
wardrobe now. Oh, some people can't afford clothes, my man. Go to the party thing, but that t-shirt. What are you talking? Go ahead.
So I had the opportunity of watching a video. Mr. Cummings went somewhere. It was a gathering of the ANC. So the guys who they had there, with a battle cry, jubilating and all of that. I don't know, this one just popped up from nowhere. CDC Muya, CDC Muya. You celebrating with Mr. Cummings from the ANC, but somebody chanted the slogan. CDC Muya, CDC Muya. And it was the guys that were in Mr. Cummings' t-shirt.
Yeah.
So they forgot that they were with the ANC. And they started shouting their slogan. CDC Muya. No, Mr. Cummings, that was so embarrassing. How can this be my gathering? And this guy is shouting CDC Muya.
Maybe,
And
maybe people infiltrated.
that would make what type of country today.
Yeah. So, the
Because
point is
because
making
some
is
of the
that they
answers
think
say
it's
they
business,
say
right, Dr. David? That's what he's trying
That,
to tell us. This thing
yes,
is
it's business.
business.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
business.
And they understand it. That's why they're supporting it. That's why they're feeding it with money
Yeah.
and fanfare. Yeah.
Well, we
so
have,
let's talk about the one hypothetical here with Henry Costa, who is currently in Liberia,
yeah.
going as vice presidential candidate to Honorable Boaka. Dr. Deputy, you want to weigh in quick?
Oh yeah, it could be because anything can happen. It could be. It could be that while we're thinking that a group of people, I saw the former senator, arranging and they're going to send petition out to them to pick this. We saw what happened when the former vice president picked Nukwe, out of the blue. I think it was on a Wednesday, or I stand to be corrected, but it was just out of a sudden. Nukwe was being picked by VP Bwaka. So anything can happen in our politics, in our body politics. And that's why it's not static, it's revolving. So the old man, he could sit there and say, give him chance, and tomorrow morning he said, Nyambly, let's go.
So, Dr. David, give us the pros and the cons. If Mr. Boaka decides today that I am going to go with Mr. Henry Costa, as Madrone made, what would be the pros and the cons of that decision?
I think it would just brought us right back to the pros and cons would be what we saw when he picked Nukwe.
Okay.
Yeah, either the poor just gonna plump, and maybe fewer people gonna pick it up. But are those people enough? Because Costa has a popularity in certain blocks,
Oh yeah.
and the COP blocks are they okay? Because in the Western world, you and I were asked about what the vice president bring to the table.
Right.
If the president was incapacitated today, is he able to go Prague and he be the president? What have he done? What are some of the decisions he have made? But again, if you're looking at our society, that we're just looking at popularity, and with coming from the airport and you see the crowd behind him, that crowd, he may think it can turn into two-thirds or one-eighth of the vote, and it couldn't. So
Okay.
it's just going to win some folks over for a few days, and when the dust settle, we just go right back to where it was. So the
Okay.
hypothetical could be the ruling party could be in a closet dancing because they just added six political parties to their column.
Yeah.
Whether the party have 100 members or 50 members, the uptake is that they added six plus the three, so they got now in their cover, and they're asking, say, who you got,
Mhm.
So it's gonna just the nuclear factor will play again. That's what I think.
Hmm.
Yeah.
There could be somebody saying that a similar thing could happen to the ruling party. They have increased the number of parties to nine. Somebody could say, well, yes, those guys were, induced. It's likely that they can even increase it to more, but just stay the rigs losing the election. What would you say?
I doubt it. It's numbers. And those people are adding to their numbers and they're keeping those numbers, because the first thing I just heard, saw this on a tip that the party chair of the ruling party was telling the young people under the sycamore tree and say, don't let anybody buy your registration card from you. So it's about the number. So if they keep adding and keep nurturing those that they are adding and visiting them and calling them and throwing most of the party at the headquarters and keep doing what they're doing, the opposition could be having no dead party headquarters and hoping that people will come in to vote for them, because you gotta want it. You gotta want it bad. You saw here that when in the U.S. when Obama wanted it, you will see a plane landing in some of those areas like 11, 12 midnight. You gotta want it. So it's not an entitlement, and that's what we see mostly on the in the opposition bloc, that because the people think that this president is not doing well, so we're gonna win, which is not a strong point into because politics is a contact sport. That's why they call it arena. You inside a ring, you boxing. If the other guy is keep coming at you and you're waiting till he get tired before you knock him off, you wouldn't have that chance.
And I think that what the opposition
No,
is waiting.
yeah,
They think we are,
yeah,
because in boxing, as I started boxing,
yeah,
in boxing, the man throwing a lot of punches, you think he will wear out. So you ball up,
yeah,
you check,
Yeah.
you
yeah,
punch. But if that man hit you on one point that they didn't
yeah,
cover you, it's over. Go
You're
in
going
boxing,
now, my
yeah,
man.
so one punch ends,
yeah.
right? So, and I think it's a good point you make. These people continue to be lackadaisical, and these hypotheticals we're talking about here, like Moses said, he believes in his spirit that a Baka communist ticket is a one-time deal. But what's the guarantee here?
No
If
guarantee,
I'm
Moses.
coming out, if
they,
CDs
ha-
are wearing
they have
communist
the
ticket, I'm
numbers.
coming. No, 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 hold on. Let me say my point. If physicians are already wearing communist t-shirt, going to his rally and doing Mia Mia, what makes you think that communist has the numbers? Think about it. It could be
So
just another fair fair. You see what I'm coming from, Alfonso?
yeah, I get it. I get exactly where you're coming from. I think Moses' previous statement undercuts his claim here that they have the numbers because
CDC Muya.
the numbers might just be following them for whatever they can get on that day.
Yeah.
And to piggyback on what Dr. Debbie said, definitely, I think one, as you correctly said, um, all politics is local. So politicians have to go to the people and meet the people where they are and talk to the people and advance their ideas and their policies. You can't say that in Monrovia or say that in one office and think that somehow the people are going to vote for you. You have to go to where the people are. There's one opposition presidential candidate who I saw the other day trying to do that. I saw a photo of him walking through the mud going to the southeastern region, took his shoes, slippers off because the road was bad, which is Gonglo. I've also heard that the president has a $10 million appropriation in the national budget to do nationwide tour, which probably is
For
campaign
campaigning, yeah.
campaign disguised as a nationwide tour. But definitely politicians need to be with the people. If you're not even giving them rights or you're not feeding them, they need to see you and you need to be with them and engage the young people, undertake programs, activities, and projects, and then finally on the point with Oman Boakai, former Vice President Boakai. I think Vice President Boakai has done a very good job portraying and presenting himself to the Liberian people as a clean person, as somebody who's not corrupt, who has integrity, and who can run the country. The mistake he made in the 1997 election was to go and pick
Oh, you
Nuku.
mean in 2017?
2017,
2017, yeah.
2017.
Yeah.
What's wrong with me? 2017 election by going to pick Nukwe, who, of course, people knew was in that clique. Nukwe was, in the legislature, and if the one group of people that the Liberian people hated at the time were the legislators, and he runs the risk of making a similar mistake. A
You mean
similar
with
mistake.
Jeremiah Kuhn? Because Jeremiah Kuhn is a senator now.
Yeah,
And
well, with I think with Kuhn, with Costa, and with again, I think um a vice presidential pick, given the circumstances that we face, given his own circumstances, and even you can be a very young person and still get incapacitated. You can have an accident, God forbid. You can have a stroke. You can fall down and die. That's why when people pick vice presidential candidates, the one question that asks is, would this person be ready from day one to step in as president if something happens to me in the president? And that's a critical question that needs to get answered. And I don't think it has been answered sufficiently yet.
thank you, gentlemen. And of course, these hypotheticals will continue to perseverate around these elections season until we hit October 10th to see the outcome. But let's talk about what could be a better outcome. What is it that we want, gentlemen? Let's go around the room. What is it that we want as a result of October 10th? I've spoken in some circle where somebody flat out told me, say, nothing good gonna come out of October 10th. The playing field will become level and even in 2026 when many of these people who have kept us backwards politically, economically, security wise, all of the things that's supposed to put our country, in a forward trajectory. Uh, Hopefully, those people won't be around, or they will be feeble to the point that they can't do anything. That's when there will be new breed of politicians like the Clarence Momolu, who is now, Moniba, Clarence,
Monma.
who is now on the scene. There will be young, newer politicians who will come forth. Um, Hopefully at that time. So, but again, you and I are worried because we are at a place where We don't even want to go 6 more rather years with the
Mhm.
same thing. So what is the best outcome for 2023 October 10th? Moses?
Well, look, the future is very difficult to. It's
Because we're on
the,
this topic now, we got to go to what type of country? We got to go to memory lane. Uh,
yeah. Hmm.
Manin Sumo sent me something, but it's a
Okay.
good one. So
Yeah. So what I was saying is that it is very difficult to predict the future of Liberia because whether we like it or not, let's say hypothetically, Mr. Weah wins this year. He goes to 2026. And don't forget, when he's stepping out, it is obvious that the CDC will want to do everything possible to ensure that whoever is coming as a president will be there to protect some of the ill-gotten wealth. Just as we saw with Mr. Weah's ascendancy to the presidency of Liberia, that was manipulated by President Salif. She played a critical role in that. So, how sure are we that George Weah is not going to do the same thing? How sure are we that we're not even going to have a conflict in the very CDC? Because what I'm hearing is that the Minister of Finance, Samuel Tua, who claims to be the most intelligent of all public officials in Liberia, wants to be the next president. Whether this information is true or not, that also, puts us in a difficult situation. If a crisis breaks out in the CDC, anything can happen. If Mr. Weah feels that, hey, my future will be threatened if I don't manipulate this process, he can do everything to make sure that the 49 condominium that he built on all shady condition, those condominiums are well protected. So we'd rather have a serious problem. And lastly, like Dr. David was saying, I think one of the greatest problems we have is poverty. So unless we can address that, it's rather difficult to predict the future of Liberia come 2026. Because if people are continuously asking you, what did you bring for us? Here are the children. Then how do you talk about the future? The people are talking about the now. The
mhm.
now. They're not thinking about future. That's how I would like to put it.
Dr. Deputy, let me just quickly come to you.
There's three things. Hypothetically, let's say we look at our election laws in the country and say, for example, to register a political party is $1 million, United States dollars. It make it harder for those 300 member party than to register.
That's true.
So you're now going to shrink the few to maybe three or four. If you have three political parties, now you create a room for ideas. When the man become a Democratic Party or a Libertarian Party view and those kind of things, the man will recruit Libertarian view, or the man will recruit this. But look at our politics in the country. The man is the president from a different party, the vice president from a different party. So you got two different ideas combining into
I got
one
you.
house. Yeah, the wife is she feel that the rent must be the first thing to get paid. The husband feel that the car note must be the first thing. So you find that those things are not. Bring savings back into the school. When you bring those kind of things down, you now start to create a path that when a guy come in and that three political parties in there, let's look around our neighboring countries. Look at Ghana. You now see people will wear the red or the white. You go to Sierra Leone, the people wear certain thing. But when I saw, like for example, the Farmington I called and saw some poor signing, I wonder whether they got a building in Monrovia or where they're running their party office from. So you see where we are versus these people that, like I said, that are following. If you look at the chanting that is going on, that the people in Kakata, in Magibi, was chanting for a man who are already being indicted. That we don't care about the indictment. We just want a man because of who he is and what he brought for us or what he have done for us over the time. We're just repeating. It's a repeat cycle. But until we do these things, work on our election laws, create an environment, teach the civic, we'll not be creating a pathway into maybe 2029 or moving forward to now start recruiting ideas that will change some of those things from the ground up.
Alfonso?
Yeah, I mean, given my background, I come from the civil society background, and I always like to, put the onus and the burden on on civil society, because I believe democracy is actually about what the population wants and thinks. So I think we there's hope. There's hope. I saw people vote for Ellen Sirleaf in 2025. I didn't see her distributing a lot of rice, for the people. George Weah was more popular. He also ran.
Hey, the guy did wrong.
Sorry,
2005, not 2025.
2005. I get all my dates
2005.
wrong today. 2005, and she ran and won, beat him. At that time he was fresh from being a celebrity. So I still think it's possible. We also saw that in the by elections, the opposition was able to bring a lot of legislators on board without having the so-called popularity, and without having the amount of resources that the incumbents had to distribute rights to the people. So I think there's hope. We just need to engage our people at the various levels of society, and educate them about voting. So people can take rice beggar right from people and still vote against them. I believe a lot of people took beggar right from Sir Joseph and other people, and they didn't vote for him to become to win. But I think we need to change that culture in the country of what do you have for me? What did you bring for me? And one of the ways we can change it is to empower the people economically, empower them civically. And that's where economics and jobs creations really. Politicians do these things deliberately. They keep the people poor and hungry so they can give them few cups of rice and t-shirts so the people can see them as their saviors. And we need to counter that.
I think that's a brilliant point you guys have put forth, and we have talked about these things time immemorial, where we are as a country and how we're going to go with this. You know that October 10th, Moses always says, is a defining year.
Yeah.
When you think about how defining this year can be, it's like scary, because if everything is hinges upon this year and this elections, then with the voting population we have, as I said, the way they make decisions, the way they perceive things, it is just scaring. So how can this be the defining year when it is the same young people who are going to go over there wearing CDC, ANC t-shirt, and doing muya muya CDC muya? you know, we're gonna have the same outcome. We're gonna have the same outcome, and it's gonna be scary. But that's why we are in a place where we say, what type of country is this? Is this the country that we really looking forward to? 2023 October 10th. Is that a country we're looking forward to? It's a problem. So before we go to what type of country is this, we're gonna move away from the line. And Dr. Deputy, you can hang on here with us because it's part of the Kuku Jumuku. You got to stay here and
Want to
join
introduce you to Kukujumuku,
the
eh?
so, uh, but there's a nice little piece written by Dr. Manisumo, Augustine Manisumo, and he does something called the memory lane. And he wanted to do this to bring us back to a situation that took place. And it was written on April 6th, for April 6th. And those of you who are from Liberia, you should know what it means when we say April 6, 1996. In fact, I was in Liberia. I saw it. I felt it. I tasted it, and I know what it meant. So he say, it's dedicated to all the Liberians and the 5 Catholic nuns that died on April 6, 1996. Let's go back to memory lane. Wherever you are, let's observe a brief moment of silence for our brothers and sisters who did not have to die on April 6, 1996. May their soul and the souls of all the departed rest in peace. Amen. Ina lahiha wan ina ilehai rahujun amin. I'm trying to speak the
Yeah,
Arabic.
that's Arabic now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all remember on April 6, 1996, gun battles erupted in Monrovia between Allied forces of Charles Taylor and the late Alhaji Kroman against the forces of the late warlord Roosevelt Johnson. Roosevelt Johnson had led a splendid group of Ulimo. Some 1,000 plus civilians were killed in the violence, and private homes and UN facilities were looted. Y'all remember Echo Mark? Gange no you, woman that why? Tego, butt naked. Let us remember the 5 Catholic nuns, Sisters Agnes Mueller, Barbara Ann Motra, Kathleen McGuire, and cousins Mary Joel Como and Shirley Como. I come to rest in peace. You remember those names?
Yeah.
Remember those names?
Hmm.
Were you around, Doc?
No, I wasn't.
You were in the States then, right?
You were in
Yeah,
Ivory Coast
I
at the
was in
time?
the Ivory Coast. Yeah, yeah, I was in
Oh,
Ivory
okay.
Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're refugee in Ivory Coast. Yeah.
Those people, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And April 6, being in memory lane for me, April 6 took place, I believe it was a Friday.
Yeah, it was a Friday,
It
and
was a
then
Friday.
yeah.
Because Moses, I had just I took out a tooth at JFK Wednesday. The tooth was killing me, and I had to get rid of the tooth. So I went to JFK, and the man, Dr. Taylor knew at the time was the chief dentist there. But he was not around, so his boy decided to take him on team, my man. That boy, you fly
Extracted.
to get my man. And 2 days later, April 6 takes place.
Oh
My
my
mom
God.
is growing up. I am, you know,
In
trying to give
serious
my back
pain.
Saturday. Maybe it was a Saturday, but I knew it was the weekend. And hell broke loose. Moses,
Damn.
our man Ledger Hood Rennie, uh, uh, what a guy named Timothy Ben
Yeah.
from
From the
ELCM,
cab. Yeah.
Pat, Father Patrick Kabah of the Catholic Archdiocese, and Father Eric Crenshaw, all of us, we had to flee uh, to settle at Ecomog Bay.
Hmm.
And I was at Ecomog Bay. They brought in Dr. Sawyer. They brought in Wilton Sangawolo. At the time, he was the state councilman.
Hmm.
And Roosevelt, not Roosevelt, Hezekiah Bowen, Barkers Matthews, all of us, we were at the officers' mess at the free zone,
Hmm.
the Coast Guard base, where everybody. So sometimes, these kinds of things can bring the big and the small, the hopeless, the helpless, the
Together.
able, all together under one roof. My brother was sleeping on the floor. Everybody making a little small spot. These
Wow.
big government officials. So that is why when you look at war and what happens as a result of war, I don't know if these guys can reflect. And it's just the other day, Moses.
Yeah.
It's just the other day. And so when you say you're enjoying the semblance of peace for the last 20 years, but you not mesmerizing and massaging this peace and maintaining this peace, You're doing things all over the place, extrajudicial killings, depriving people of their dead body. You say you done your autopsy. Okay, it's over now. Give our body. You say no.
Say no.
3 missing boys. Auditors just
Auditors.
dying. People building mansions. We know where the money coming from, but we know 16 billion lost, 25 million. All these things are the things that can lead us back to this day. And so memory lane for me like this, I remember it vividly. I saw it. I felt it. I smelled it. I saw bodies in the street. Butt naked was butt naked, yeah. That's when
Yeah, born naked, yeah.
butt naked was butt naked. And so we pray that October 2023 can sustain our peace, can keep our country together, because one of the hypotheticals, if the elections is rigged, we do not know what could happen. And as you and I know, our country remain seated on a time bomb. The percolator is percolating, and at some point the whistle will blow. That's why you kind of lauded the government and the opposition for signing a peace pact,
Of course.
because these are the little trickles, the little things, the little flashes that tells you things could go out of hand. So what you guys say before we move to what type of country is this?
I mean, I agree with everything you said. That's why we continue to say that the next 6 months, come October the 10th, it will be a moment of decision making. Whether the country going to move forward or remain stagnant. Whether the country economy will boom or crumble. Whether Liberians will take to the street and go back to what they experienced uh, for over 14 years on that. Because Volcano, before I came to the podcast, I spoke to someone from Monrovia. And this person told me, and I just thought to bring this in because it's very important in reference to what we're talking here. This person told me that he resides in Johnsonville. But because they have limited number of voter registration centers in Johnsonville, a good number of people from Johnsonville made their way to Bannersville, where there are more voter registration centers. That's where they register. So I asked the gentleman, I said, okay, now you register in Bannersville. Do you know that you register in a different district? He said, of course I do. Know that that's not my district, but it doesn't matter. I just want to participate in the election. So I said, okay, come the election, what would be your concern? He said, when I go there, whatever candidate that comes before me running for that district, I would just vote for that person. I'm not interested. So that tells you the risks where people will vote for other people, will impose other people on people who live in those districts. You understand? Because if you came from Johnsonville and vote for somebody for not even knowing this person, and the people in the district think that that person is not up to the task and that person wins, it means that your will is going to be imposed on those people. That's why we say everything must be done to ensure that this process is free, is transparent, and fair.
Okay,
All
Moses.
these little things are happening.
Yeah, because we're running out of time now.
Yeah.
Doc, you got any point to make quick so we can roll?
Yes, all of us Liberians, far and wide, felt those Aprils, whether it was 6 or 12. Uh,
Or 14.
Ellen Johnson, 14. Ellen Johnson said one thing that The former president said one thing that why she did not, one of the things she did not do well was to reconcile the country. Like Rwanda reconciled there before they came out to where they are today. And all of us, whether we're in exile or in Liberia, one way or the other, have a vivid memories of these events. And it is my fervent prayer and hope that we can reconcile the country. That people, leaders that are coming in, whether they are, will be able to not frame the fire, but we can look back to what we've done and move forward ahead as a country. Because this is not a good memory to share.
That's true.
Thank you. All right, gentlemen. Um, it's time for what type of country is this? And we encourage you to start throwing your what type of country is this in the equation here tonight. Moses and I, we had a little segment before the show. We'll come to that. But we want to encourage you to now let us know that you're ready. What type of country is this? Is that segment which is humorous, Doc, where people throw in their little stuff about Liberia. For example, what type of country is this? The policeman who should be protecting and securing law and order sits in the taxi cab with passengers. The girl phone slips in the seat. He takes the phone and puts it under his police hat, and the girl is everywhere in the taxi cab looking for the phone.
Couldn't
So one
find
of
it.
the passengers said, "But give me a number, let me call it." And they give the girl the girl gives the passenger the number, and the passenger calls the number, and the
The
phone is
phone is
ringing under
ringing.
the policeman hat. At each step
And
up,
this man was supposed to be protecting.
and then the phone said, "Well, the phone ringing, where?" Then somebody said, "But the phone ringing on top of the policeman head." Take the hat. So he takes the phone hat, I mean his hat off, and yet the phone that ain't said, "But I found it."
How can you find that?
How can you find phone ready to tie you
And
as,
the
as a policeman? You don't give the phone. So
yes, I
that
have found it.
that's the kind of country Liberia has gotten, that the policeman has no integrity. Simple thing like phone, he's stealing phone. What's it? What you got there? So that's it. So
And so,
you gotta tell us from your experience, Doc.
yeah,
What have you seen in Liberia that is
that's unusual for you.
common and typical of the Liberian people?
Yeah.
Alexander Hayes, and watch it now. We go in. Alexander Hayes says here, what type of country is this? When girl tell the boy, you not my type, but asking him for money. You know, partly you and your own CPP will move.
What? So what? So what type of country is this? When you have a Natana McGill who was running to be senator, but decided to downsize from running for senatorial seat to say, "Hey, look, you know what? I cannot afford the cost of running for a senatorial seat. I'm going to run for representative." And then look at the whole thing. And then people coming there, oh, chief.
Yeah.
The people introduced said they come here, but we need to buy gas. They tell you, well, how much you get in the bank?
Mose will come back to that.
So
What
they
type of
read the
country is
whole
this?
thing.
Mose, hold that one. We'll come back to him. What type of country is this? Adiaha Umo.
Yeah.
Children as little as 13 years old are committing suicide.
Yes, I
What type
saw
of
that.
country is this?
Country is very sad. But
Charlie
anyway,
McAfee. What type of country is this? Hashtag where the people are suffering, don't have money, can't afford to buy food, but the rescue mother having on an elaborate party for the elite.
party, yeah.
Who is she rescuing?
Yeah.
What type of country is this?
What type of country is this when our foreign service staff in Washington, D.C. are at the verge of being evicted from their homes and we are using the country's resources to celebrate the birthday of rescue mother? What type of country is this?
Dr. Deputy, do you have something in the background? There's a
Our
Yeah,
priorities are mixed. Our priorities are ups and downs.
lot of feedback coming from your end, and when I mute you, then you won't really be. You see now,
Yeah.
all that noise is
You're
gone.
monitoring, right? I
So
think he's
yes,
monitoring. Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's what the noise is.
yeah, just
Yeah,
some
what country is this when even in the church there is not a lost and found, you know? So one
Absolutely.
guy, yeah, a friend of mine lost his phone in the church, and you thought that they would take it to the usher and say, "Oh, somebody left their phone here and this and that," and the person that found the phone lifted their hand and said, "God, I thank you that you get my blessing." You know, I found the
Wow.
phone in the church.
come on, that's a good one. That's a very
Dr.
good one.
David.
Yeah,
Not even in the church we have lost and found, eh?
What type of country
yeah,
is
in the church.
when there's no religious integrity? People finding
Yeah,
some kind of property, they ain't even scared of God. He said, "Thank you, God,
mm,
for giving my blessing."
You can be my blessing.
It's
God,
what
God bless the man.
A member of your
yeah,
congregation just lost
yeah,
his or her phone. Then you say, "Go give my blessing."
yeah. God give my
country is
blessing.
this? Uh, government gets government employees get paid 50% of salary every 6 months and must protest to get the other 50% another 6
What
months.
type of country
What
is
type
it?
of country is this? That's
What the?
Daniel Jackson. Dr. Wadi says, what type of country is this? When you inbox me to tell me your medical bill is 270 US dollars, but I cannot see the bill. What
What
type of
type of
country is
country?
this?
What
What
type
type of
of?
country is this, Shaggy McAfee, that the ministry of the ministry of every ministry have access to the ministry bank account,
Yeah.
take out money with no checks and balances? Where is the finance department for that ministry? So
Wow.
it's like the finance ministry taking money from their own budget.
Yeah, anyone can go into the account and get the money.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
What what type of country is this? So so what type of country is this that people will work when they are not paid and the stage of protest, then the minister comes and say, the next time I hear about protest, or
Oh,
you will be
Fire
terminated.
order.
Yeah,
but that was not the first time. Remember when the nurses went on strike and the president himself said he will fire all of them if they continue to strike? Yeah.
Wow.
About a year or two ago. Yeah.
What type of country is this?
Yeah.
what kind of country is
What type
this
of
when your
country?
when your friend took the go pick you up at the airport and carry drinks and say you gotta cool up before we take the road.
Dr. David, you know your country so much.
Yeah.
He said, my
So
man,
mama,
I
I
did
brought
here.
yeah, I brought my own sitting in where the cup, you know, where the water cup or your pay your card, you know,
Yeah,
the holster. He got
yeah.
it out of there. So my man, the cooler in the back, cooler before we take the
He
long
said,
journey.
I give it this so we can start chilling.
Yeah,
Can you imagine what type of
And the
country?
man is doing 90 miles per hour.
in a
oh
dog,
yeah,
in a dog, in a dog, in a dog where the road being repaired. Can
Yeah.
you
yeah,
The man is
what type
doing
of
90 miles per hour for the man, for man. Allah, yeah, the
yeah,
key,
man.
yeah.
yeah, yeah, una BL.
Yeah.
They Johnny there, not easy.
Nice. Yeah.
Jesus.
But what type of country is this, Moses, where majority of the people lack conscience?
Yeah. What type of country is
What type of
this?
country is this?
What type of
No
country?
conscience. You
They
got
don't. For Canada, they don't lack. They don't lack it. It's just doing what you see. You are what you see.
That's true.
Hey,
For
but that
generations you saw those things then, so it become norms.
It,
if
it
you
become
if
normal.
you just if people keep repeating it, just like you keep saying something that I'm rich, you just start wearing shoe in the street in a hot sun, acting
Yes.
like you rich.
Yeah.
It's you are what you see, girl, what you see, generations, this is systemic
I still think
And
until it
conscience
he's
turn
absolutely
normal.
right.
I still think conscience
Yeah.
plays a part because I grew up in a society where we had conscience. But the construct now of our society, sometimes I wonder how we got to this point. Is it because we just so open and everybody does what he or she wants, and so it becomes the
But
norm?
yeah, it's one thing that I saw there. 2018, when I went back, I ate a banana and put the peeling in my pocket,
Yeah.
looking for a place to put it, like trash bin or so.
Yeah.
It was 17 years after I went back home, and my brother is telling me, my metro that thing down will sweep it. It took me 3 days to be like everybody else.
Yeah.
All
To
the
adjust.
morals and ethics just went through the window because you don't want to sit there and feel like you're the only change agent.
Yeah. That's
It's
true.
like you're waking up in the morning, you're wearing your Nike sneakers, and everybody that comes visit you, they're all in
With
slippers.
slippers.
The next
So
day, you will put that shoe down and pick a slipper like that,
that's
and they
true.
finish winning you over. You got to be the two or three of you that are wearing sneakers to tell that person that bare feet, my man, I wanna. You be the fourth person to wear one of these sneakers.
Yeah.
Other than that, you just be like them after 3 or 4 days.
Hmm.
Everything you learn morally, ethically, will
It
just go
fell out
through
of the
the
window.
window.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because they're telling you to throw it down, they will sweep it. I
That's
so
mean,
true.
throw that bottle down.
in a
We go
nutshell,
to rest. We went to a restaurant and I'm looking for water to wash my hand, and
Yeah.
the woman said I should go behind the house to where they were cooking the food. And my brother said he's praying in his heart for me to not go in the back. When I went to the back, the washing water and the rinsing water the same
but
color.
it
Ooh.
So I came out here and just took my
And
sanitizer and put my hand under the.
you want eat the food and
Yeah,
oh
just put
no.
your hand sanitizer underneath the table and rub your hand. But sooner or later, you will look. They will, you will get picked up from the group that they man washing your hand, sanitize. It look like he from somewhere, so you gotta
Yeah.
melt. You
Yeah.
just gotta melt in. That's why the society is still dominant because
Yeah.
people are melting in it. So the forces to change it, they're just following, and
Is
that's why the country it is, and this is how it is. It's a tough thing to change.
Dr. Deputy is 100% right, Volcano. That's why we say the environment in which we live have serious impact on our behavior.
yeah. I mean,
You
so we
got
just
to
got
adapt.
absorbed. We
You
just we
got to
just
adapt.
I don't call that adaptation. I call that being absorbed.
By the environment.
Yeah, yeah. You got
Because
adaptation.
because
We
like
need
you
it.
say, you went the first time you say no man, I don't think it makes sense for me to start throwing
It's not
banana
gone.
peelings here and there. Let me find somewhere.
Yeah.
And somebody say, oh man, throw that thing somewhere, man. What you think? After 2, 3 days, it becomes part of the environment. You know?
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
corrupting influence of the environment.
Yeah.
However, um, I mean, yes, and after a while, you want to
You settle
stop
down.
and
Yeah.
just move on. However, um, if you went and got a trash can and put it in the house, so everybody start throwing the banana peel in there, maybe that's something that they could have learned too.
Hmm.
So behaviors are learned, right? I mean, that's you
Yeah.
guys
Even behaviors
are.
are learned. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, so yes, so it's difficult, it's challenging, it's really hard to change the majority of the people, but that's the task that we face. Unfortunately, our
What
Yeah.
generation
is
has
this?
the
But
responsibility. Yeah.
let,
Moses,
eh,
we're not discussing. We gotta go here. We
no,
gotta
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
the
Now what I'm
man
saying, I
do
wanted to come to say,
the man do it what type of country, man.
what type of country is this that when somebody is appointed to a position, the first question he asks, my man, is there any chopping? He doesn't think about his salary, but he
Yeah.
wants to know whether there's a chopping, you know, in our work environment. You know the chopping I'm talking about, right? Where people
Yeah,
come
yeah.
in here and they're
Yeah,
bragging
Transparency.
and
okay.
all that. Yeah. Yeah, my man.
Okay.
And then
Transparency.
chopping, no
NTA.
chopping, say, my man, I want that job.
NPA.
The salary not
What
enough.
country is
So,
this?
So
Thomas Awaji, where you have not received pay in 6 months, but continue to go to work every day.
what
What
type of
type of
country is
country is
this?
this? What type of country is this? Emmanuel Jackson, the leading political party, had a condition with three political parties, or coalition rather, with three political parties who complained they didn't get jobs or benefits in the coalition for 5 years, yet
Mhm.
yep.
six political parties joined the coalition. For what?
Mm.
Can you
Yeah.
What
imagine?
type of country is this? Yeah.
What type of country is this? Alexander Boniface Emmanuel Hayes says that when blind loyalty is the symbol of love and care.
Yeah.
Yep.
What type of
What type of
country is
country
this?
is this? Shaggy McAfee when the president travels with his EPS officers, but the officers run away and you never
what,
see them again.
what
You
type of
send for
country is this?
replacement to run away again. Man, what's the two I men give it? He sent for replacement, other men again.
The
They
other
give
man
it.
ain't give it.
Very good. What
Yep.
type of country is this?
All right. So let's go back to Nathaniel McGill. What type
Yeah.
of country is this? The man decided to be senator. But now you see how much it will cost to take on the whole county for campaign. He might have to make 300,000 t-shirts. So here, whoever had a discussion with Wesley, that thing doing the money finishing. You better downgrade so you can go for a representative, at least that district. If you make 10 or 15,000 t-shirts, it's better. So
Ivela.
the man look at it and say, you're right. So the man leave there. The man leave a big house and he go to a one-bedroom apartment.
Me go to one bedroom.
Time I get downgraded.
Yeah.
So
Every time,
senator now you need to represent it.
and you don't forget that every time the townships they will send people, oh, you know, chief will want to organize something.
And
Want
Maggie
bring
be
the
big.
people to come.
Maggie is
Yeah,
a big
want bring the
country.
people together to come and petition you. So my guest said, but y'all bring something that you say, no, chief, that you want to be senator.
So so
What type of country is this?
what type of country is this? Emmanuel
Mhm.
Jackson says there. Family bakery near Beaumont's Bridge on Bushel Island, no public restroom. He went there and he was instructed to go behind the bakery and eat himself.
Oh my God.
What type of country is this?
It's
Can you
food though.
imagine somebody going to a bakery, my man?
It's
They
a
said, my
place of
man, go behind the bakery, my man. Wow, what type of country is this?
Yeah.
Woo, that's a sad one, though.
what type of country is this? When you cannot get a job as a street sweeper unless you sleep with a higher up.
What type of
What
country
type
is
of
this?
country is this?
Yeah, abuse.
So
It's
my time was
normalized.
here now. He
Mhm.
started the downside, but then the beginning come, you know, he had a BB Jeep, the nigga, what you call Nissan Patrol, all kind of
Yeah,
BB Jeep. So the beginning came, he said, so keep, we gotta go to that town hall.
yeah, in Tony.
Yeah, they said no guy. He said, no man, yeah, in the party, yeah, support me. I can buy gas too. If I let all the people, who's I can laugh with?
He said, but you want to be senator, you can't run motorbike. He said, no, I'll run motorbike.
I gotta be,
I'll be
I
like
gotta
that.
beat other people.
Yeah.
So, now time I get down south from one, from senatorial seat to one bedroom house.
But that's why I become a country where campaigns are closer to the election. three
Yeah,
months, 4 months to the election.
yeah, so that
When
you
you sure
spend
I
too
had
much.
like a whole, yeah, so you can spend a lot. When you sure have been long enough to get your message across, you wait. Here we are, yeah, we haven't got anything.
What type of country is this, Thomas Awaji say, where the garbage has taken over the country?
Yeah,
And
it's
that you
like
just came back 10 weeks, 10 days ago, right? You say you were there for 10 days, you just came back.
Yeah,
Garbage
yeah.
everywhere, including a
it's
banana peeling. That banana peeling, what you doing?
So he hasn't told us what he did with
like
that
a
banana
deputy. What
peel.
you
You
think
threw it
about the
down or
trash, my man?
did it stay in your
Oh
pocket
yeah,
for no 10 days?
oh, oh yeah. I won't be like that. So they can
Yeah, so
So
they
they
send me a
can
can
part.
recognize
So I
me.
got, yeah. the guy
Shaggy McAfee said, "What type of country is this that is rich in resources yet poor in leadership?
In
Yeah, what
leadership.
type of country
What
is
type of
this?
country?" And you know something, my man, you can have everything, but if you can't lead, you can't govern, you can't manage,
Yep.
those
Yep.
things will disappear. Even your
Everything
own
will
money,
crumble.
your salary, you go
Of
get
Absolutely.
course.
paid and you misappropriate your money, you'll be broke by the end of the pay day.
Mm-hmm.
Now what
Yeah.
happened in Liberia?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course. Like you
That
said, what type of country is this where the man works, get his paycheck, the first thing he does, run to the casino, blow the entire paycheck, then he be going around begging people to pay way
uh,
home.
What type of country is this? Nathaniel McGill say he entered LU 2005 and
Emmanuel,
graduated
oh yeah,
2021.
in
He
Emmanuel,
graduated in
2001.
2001.
Yeah.
And the med degree is in reverse. Oh.
but that's why the man downgraded, my man. The man said
Was
that
it?
thing was
Oh
thinking
yeah.
that
Was it
I don't
Hannah
know.
you created high school or then I running
The man came from the top and went all the way to the
it?
But
Oh
Moses, you know
Jesus.
what? When you saw the man, what he was wearing green suit and pink shirt,
The man had a the man had a pink t-shirt with green costume.
And the color the
And so the Torah see what I mean, I said the Torah they were looking at homeless man.
oh
So
God.
all the people standing around, they said, "Oh, she said no, I don't know she."
That's
There
She
you
no,
it.
go.
they said she no gas in the car. He said, "But what's about here? You ain't bring anything to."
You leave me here. You leave me alone. Oh
good.
God. Look.
He said, "My man, you got to Leonie man." Then he said, "Me Sunday," and they call a man in. They said, "My guest." They said, "Who do you call my guest?"
You know the man said I meant to finish.
He said, "My man, I tell I met to never call me."
That's exactly what a guy can do. By the time you lose your job, if anyway.
He said, "Anyway, you." The man called it the Leonie man. What is it? Tell Eli, you said to be is that my guest. He said, "I don't know him."
He said, nothing like he said, you don't hear America say no business. anyone, anyone who do a business with a maggot, the person you do,
Yeah,
I don't
Oh God.
they said, "Oh,
There you
chief."
go.
And when I told the man, so what the man said, he said,
The
he
man
said, "Chief,
saying
you
no
guys
you
said
were
talk to
chief.
the man."
Mm.
And Leonie man answered the fool. He said, "Oh, that my guy." He said, "Chief, the people said the American."
they say I'm not talking to you.
They
I
said
don't want
nobody will
trouble.
not do
I'm
business
American.
with you. The American.
Oh God.
So maggot say, okay, I think you do one. We can't represent it, you know. Hey, you know me now, but
Yeah.
I will be representing.
He said, "Look, I'm on a dialogue. Hey, where's the ball? Maggie, where's the ball? Maggie, he said, "Yeah, what you say? Where you doing that now? You know,
You
God, you know, they play no fool.
Man.
Oh, they want me to send it. You want me to send it. What type of country is this, my man? From the minister of state to one representative.
so you see, this is where the greed comes in, the perpetuity in the limelight, in power, in position,
Yeah,
and astuteness. That's what they try to
Yeah.
remain.
yeah,
So he will settle for the little. And the
yeah.
representative, at least how many thousand how much at 6,000 or
that 13,000. So
uh, that's still
Yeah.
good salary.
that's still
Oh, yeah,
good money.
a lot of money there, my man.
So Emmanuel Jackson said, well, you last year waiting for the 300,000.
From my game.
But Hold on now. You ain't asked the Yula people here.
They got it.
Volcano, was it?
The people said they still holding meeting. Oh, we asked the UNA vice president. She said we'll hold meeting and come back to the public. They were holding meeting until the Americans went after my
I
game.
tell him, oh, Maggie. Maggie. Oh, God.
Now you got any more? You got any more in your end? You go rather lot
Yeah, I think what kind of country is this where the employees of the ministry are in susu, to be able to make ends meet.
Yeah.
Yeah, get in susu to my
You
man
know,
I time to eat.
Yeah.
I time to eat. Yeah,
but
just
you
to
know
make ends meet.
the truth not
Yeah.
even coming from salary. It's coming from all the little small bribes and the corruption thing that
Yeah, all
going
the
on.
little hustle to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then that's
Oh,
it.
And
yeah,
so,
yeah.
so they have to hustle. They have to beg for even the bank tellers are in susu.
Yeah, can you imagine?
Yeah.
Everybody hustling, my man.
Bank
What
And
kind
tellers.
of
the only thing that keep
yeah? What kind of
But
country is
meanwhile,
this?
I heard the president signed the budget, what, yesterday? 700 million, almost 800 million.
Yeah, but the irony of the situation is that yes, the foreign staff at the Liberian embassy in Washington
They
D.C.
can't
are
get
at the
paid.
verge of being
Yeah,
evicted. He
they
said, "What?
can't get paid.
Evicted from the apartment?"
Yeah, that's sad.
So my girl still trying to collect some of his other debt. Oh.
Yeah.
The money that
Got
he
it.
credit there around. So after the lonely man told he said, my man, I don't want to do business with you. The people say no business. He called the Indian guy,
Yeah.
Raji. He said, Raji. I mean my girl. He said, who my girl? Tell him my girl.
He said, no. Tell him, man. Tell that Maggie man. I don't know
I
him.
can't tell him.
He said, what kind of bad luck is this, my girl?
He said,
Oh,
Babuji. My girl said, Babuji, you don't know me again?
he said, I don't know you. Lord, I saw a job we had went somewhere. I saw my girl, my girl was in the gathering, my man. The guy looked like a homeless man, my man. I said, it says the former minister of state.
and you had to zoom the picture.
Yeah. The man had on green goose.
With big t-shirt.
but hold on now. That the man gringo, so you see.
The man green goose. With a pink t-shirt. You
But
see
listen,
the man
Moses,
hair, my man. The man hair had all grown, my man.
the
The
beer,
man had not
everything.
even trimmed a beard for more than 2 months. It's like a homeless man, my man.
So Shaggy, my country says, yeah, what type of country is this? That people
Yeah.
have to volunteer to cut grass at the Liberian embassy in America, but
Can
the
you
ambassador
imagine?
and finance minister making thousands of dollars.
Wow. Woo, that's a shame.
What type of country is this? Emmanuel Jackson, the president, returns home after 48 days with 300,000 tons of dates from Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. What are you doing with those debts?
Wow. And we're stuck on it. And all the people are giving it offer.
So yeah, so Emmanuel Hayes, what type of country is this where employees join lunch sue for everyone to eat and get energy? Yes, yes,
Yeah,
that's the
that
one I
was
Yeah,
want.
the
that was what
susu.
the president was talking about
Oh,
the
the
susu.
lunch susu.
Yeah.
Oh, lunch
Lunch susu. Yeah.
Yeah.
to buy
You know,
enough food so you bring
everybody
5
put it
everything out.
together. Yeah.
The Kobo
Yeah.
Oma,
The Lord, yeah,
Yeah.
the susu, yeah.
It's
yeah, the
sad.
Kobo Oma put the food in a big pan and everybody can sit down and eat. I
What
mean,
type of
Yeah.
our country is in a place though.
my man, Lord,
Our
my man,
country is in a place.
we are in a peril.
Every day our country is in a place. I
We
don't
can
know.
Yeah.
I don't know how deep is that place. I don't know if it's now the Abbeys or maybe we're not there yet, but we are far descending and sinking.
Yeah,
Yep.
of course.
And so,
But,
gentlemen, we're going to close here tonight.
but look,
Yeah.
let me just say
Um,
this, right? To Dr. Deputy, that you just came from that. Now, you tell me, given the cost of living, how can someone survive on 50 US dollars a month as a salary?
All you gotta do, you just park your car because the gasoline alone is $7 a
Uh,
gallon.
no.
So the $50, then you just leave and walk. Or
That,
but
so
you
that
own a
the
To
average
get
man
oh,
would
the
not ride the
average man.
pimpin. Yeah, would not ride the pimpin,
to get
right?
on the pen pen, yeah.
And they say you live, take for example, you live Johnsonville, you have
Yeah,
to commute back and forth. Let's say hypothetically you are spending 5 US dollars a day just for
yeah.
commute. In 2 weeks, you
That
broke.
10 days, yeah, 10 days you broke. In fact, that you just doing $5, but if you
Yeah,
add the little kobo you will add there, or the little
everything.
bread with air and tea in the morning, I
Hey,
just about eight, yeah, 5 days you gone.
hey man.
Then you
so,
got,
so let's go for this. This is profound. Shaki McAfee says here, what type of country is this that the president can be summoned not by another president or vice president, but the president who is 26 in succession to the presidency? So it means the CIA director is like the 26th person in line of
Yeah.
leadership.
Mhm.
How low have we gotten as a country?
Yeah.
What type of country is
Is this?
how have we reduced our presidency?
Yeah, to the lowest. And
And
just coming back to what Dr. David was about to talk about, Volcano. I mean, you do the math. If let's say hypothetically you are spending 6 US dollars a day just to go to work back and for you to buy your late collar, your cold and everything, would say that would just use $6. That's $30 in a week.
Less than $5.
Yeah.
Five
yeah.
dollars
Right
at
there.
10 days. A money finish. 10
Yeah. How the man will buy food for a family?
But you exactly, you're not including the family, you're not
No, you
even
just look at
including
you as an individual.
Yeah, but
Like
I'm
that
just
you
saying
alone.
that the man spending $5 a day, whether on a family
on it.
or
Okay.
anything. 10
Mhm.
days,
Mhm.
the money finished. That's all. Done deal.
Yeah.
So that's what you get. But gentlemen, we gotta go. It's about time. And I'd like to say thank you to all of us here tonight, everyone who chimed in here tonight. We say thank you for joining us, Dr. Deputy. Your one or two word before we take leave of you.
well, I want to say a big thank you
And
to all of
your
you
hope
who,
for 2023.
yeah, uh, I can wrap my hands around it, but I want to say a big thank you to you for inviting me, for the opportunity to share the hypothetical of our country. We love our country, all of us do, and we're doing all we can to make it work. But if we have systemic issues that are there, the only thing that we can do is now start building institutions. Those institutions will kind of help us get to where we want to be because those institutions can recruit ideas and those ideas can transcend into policy and work with our people. But if we're doing what we're doing, we're just still going to be doing what we're doing. Thank you again for the invite. I look forward to coming to more of these. It was fun. It's a good experience. I learned a lot too.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, I was scared like hell, when you get
Oh, really?
invited
Thank
by
you, David.
Volcano and Moses. Yeah, I had a prayer. Oh, almost passed
Don't
yesterday.
die.
Yeah,
and
well, I
and
hope to come again.
did
Yeah,
you
man.
see the phone? Did you see the phone in the church?
Oh,
But this is my blessing, my man.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
That
man,
person
my
was
blessing.
dancing. Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you so much.
yeah,
Thanks for sharing
Yeah.
with us too. Next week we go not next week, rather this Friday we're going to be bringing in Dr. Telford Ammons. Dr. Telford Ammons is based out there in Texas. He's coming in. He's a political aspirant. He believes he's the alternative. And so Moses will be grilling him. Alfonso will be grilling him why he thinks he's better. But the topic will be the pragmatic situation of the situation in the country.
Hmm.
All right, what is
you
happening in Liberia?
you sure you're not intimidating the presidential hopeful?
What is happening in Liberia? So, Dr. Telfor Ammons, I know you watching us tonight. Uh,
Yeah, but
you
we
will
look
be
forward to
joining
seeing
us
you.
here on Friday, and
Yeah,
we look forward to a wonderful conversation. We know you will hold your grounds. It's going to be as beautiful as it is, and just come, ready for the conversation. What makes you the alternative
yeah,
at this time in Liberia? Again, gentlemen, it was good conversation. Shaggy
definitely.
McAfee, thanks for being there with us. Thomas Awaji, Emmanuel Jackson, Alexander Hayes, Ram Snutton. We say thank you, Mapu Hall, Adiaha Umo, for joining us here tonight. Wonderful people who always find the time to be here with us when we go live. Bennett O'Kerner, we say thank you, thank you, thank you. This is all we can give you, just to thank you, Godwin Weado, for showing up. Eric passed away.
Yeah,
Please, please, please continue to share our link. Continue to invite others when you come to the show. Midfield Deco, we say thank you also for coming through here tonight. Gunman Myers, it was good seeing you, my brother. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us here in the issues room. I'm a Freeman, as usual. You're our man. Thanks for joining us. Raymond Clark, you made it back, and it's good to see you, all you good people who have shown up here tonight to join the conversation. Elizabeth Bowen, Priscilla Myers, we say thank you to every one of you for joining us here tonight. It was good conversation. Paul Johnson, as Edward Nefor, Frederick Monu, and the rest of you guys for coming through. Gentlemen, let's catch up here on Friday with Dr. Telford Ammons, because the alternative.
Yeah. Can we do a little background before we leave? I mean, not
Yeah,
in
behind
the
the
back,
show.
yeah.
on
Okay.
backstage.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. So we